Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Slasher Club, or shall I call us, as our new name for every Wednesday, the Paranormal Club. Tonight...
Hey, don't spook our guests out.
Tonight we will be doing Final Destination 2 from 2003, which sadly came a year before my brother was born. Wah, wah.
So to begin, this film takes place a year after the events of the first film, or more specifically, a year after the devastation of Flight 180. We are following a new group of individuals, and this time around, the survivors of the natural disaster, the pile up. It's not a natural disaster. The pile up on the highway are actually strangers this time around. So it's not a group of classmates or people that really know each other. It's a group of strangers, and they eventually enlist the aid of Clear Rivers from the original film, who is the sole survivor of the original Final Destination. And there's a few other connections to the previous film that we find out later. But it's ultimately them trying to defy death's design once more.
Right. Now let's get down to the facts. The director is different from the first film. It is David R. Elias. The producers are the same, Warren Zeid and Craig Perry. Screenplay was written by J. Mackie Gruber and Eric Brees. Story by J. Mackie Gruber, Eric Brees, and a well-known from the first movie, Jeffrey Reddick. Music again was done by Shirley Walker. Film locations were Highway 19, British Columbia, Canada, aka Route 23. The Plaza of Nations in British Columbia, Canada, is Elias Medical Complex. Campbell River is British Columbia, Canada, which is, I believe, the farm scene. They didn't really give a good description of which one was which. Okanagan Lake, British Columbia, Canada, is the lake scene. Again, an assumption because they didn't really put much in the Wikipedia, and I couldn't find any more information on it because the internet, for some reason, kept on going to The Final Destination or Final Destination. We have Ali Larder back as Clear Rivers. We have a new cast, AJ Cook as Kimberly Corman, Michael Landis as Thomas Burke or Officer Burke, David Potkow as Evan Lewis, James Kirk as Tim Carpenter, Lydia Boyd as Nora Carpenter, Keegan Connor Tracy as Kat Jennings, Jonathan Cherry as Rory Peters, T.C. Carson as Eugene Dix, Justina Mikado is Isabel Hudson, a.k.a. the survivor, or the pregnant Isabel Hudson, I should say. We have again Tony Todd, the famed Candyman, as William Bloodsworth, and he plays same role, but he's still amazing in this movie.
You gotta love a name like Bloodsworth, you know?
Right. It's so British.
Indeed.
And so death-filled. Starting out on this movie, honestly, I figured he was actually the embodiment of death.
That is a great observation because we never really get an explanation, at least within these first two films, how he knows so much about the design. Yes, he's a mortician. He's seen a lot of dead bodies, but it seems like he knows a lot more within the paranormal realm than most mortals. So if he were the embodiment of death, that would make a lot of sense. Or yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Right. And we have our supporting cast. Sarah Carter as Shauna McClank. Alex Ray as Dano Estevez. Sean Sipos as Frankie Whitman. And Noel Fisher as Brian Gibson. Which we'll get into his story later on.
Oh, when you mentioned the actor that played the Sheriff Burke, it was a sheriff or a deputy?
He was sheriff.
He's kind of like a discount George Clooney, huh?
I believe so. I mean...
Like Sci-Fi Channel George Clooney, like, you can't afford George Clooney, but you can afford this guy, and he'll be in your sci-fi movie. Sci-Fi
right.
Channel movie, I meant, not yeah, anyways, alright.
Which, honestly, if you pay attention, I believe they've actually made a meme out of his famous saying, I don't understand. I don't get that. Or, crap, I can't remember his saying. It's, oh wait, I'm not following you. And then in the meme, all you hear is, I'm not following you. I'm not following you. I'm not following you.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stalkers say that, too. I'm not following you.
But, let's get on to the gore stats.
Yes. All right. We actually do not have as high of a body count. If you'll remember, in the original, we had over 200 that died in the airplane explosion. In the original... in the initial accident, the pileup on the highway, there are 18 deaths. There are 3 that die by explosion. There are 2 impalements, 1 decapitation, 1 person crushed, 1 person sliced, and 1 person dies by fallen brick. And I think you know who I'm talking about. For a total of 27 dead bodies.
Right. And I guess you couldn't get the information on our famed pile-up.
Huh? Oh, was this inspired by real events too?
Not that I know of. What I mean to say is you couldn't get all the kills in a pile-up.
Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't pile up the information. Yeah, you're right. It escaped me.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, we only heard that there was possibly only 18 deaths in said pileup over the news.
Which kind of surprised me because it seemed like there were going to be a lot more. So 18 did sound kind of low. Outside of the gore score, I forgot to mention there were 8 survivors, 9 or 10 if you count Isabella and her baby, but 8 are the intended survivors. So
seems way more than the original movie.
Yes, so as you can tell, we are following Randy's rules. It's bigger, bloodier, carnage candy, baby.
On to the favorite kills. Evan Lewis is on my list for the favorite kill. Or as I like to say, Evan Lewis owns a new pair of ladder glasses. Or his luck just ran out.
Yes. Most people prefer the ladder, and it did not work out for him.
Right. I mean, and we even get the signs we've been told to look for this whole movie. the H in Hey E falls into the food, and we have I, which was a huge clue to what was going to happen to Ian. Evan. I keep on calling him Ian.
I didn't catch the H, but now that was totally that was definitely a sign.
Yeah, no one catches it. I didn't even notice it until I saw it on another YouTube channel. Their name escapes me, but they point out a lot of the secrets in these movies. And actually, I kind of find it stupid that Evan didn't figure, maybe I should check my food before I put it in the microwave.
Yeah, and everybody knows you never reheat, you never ever eat like day-old, 2-day-old Chinese food. That's like I thought he was going to die. That would have been interesting if he died from food poisoning, because that would have been very believable. Also, why didn't he remove his watch before getting the ring? Like, I automatically was like, don't do it. And then I knew he was going to lose both the ring and the watch.
I mean, honestly, you gotta think he is pretty stupid. I mean, he only relies on his luck to get through life.
Yeah.
And actually, if you notice, before he dies, there's a bit of product placement in there. The Apple iMac.
Yep.
Thank you, industry, for putting your nose into a movie. I mean, as if you didn't do that much in Jurassic World.
I'm about to age myself here. Those iMacs were really popular when I was in high school. Like, it was like the top of the line thing. Everyone's like, "Whoa, these are so cool, man!" And now it's like nobody owns the iMac. Everybody has moved on to other Apple products like the iPhone and iPad. It's like nobody really cares about desktops anymore.
You're forgetting I'm using one, and people are now using the Chromebook.
Yeah.
Which you can't even download anything on it. You can barely even download any games. It was hard enough downloading Skype on my brother's for those few episodes where we needed a bit of a replacement since my computer was going wacky with the sound.
Yeah. So Evan's death was your favorite kill?
Yep. What about you?
I forgot the guy's name. I just saw the movie yesterday. As you know, this is a slasher club, paranormal club. It's in every film. I always forget characters' names. But the druggy dude, when he gets sliced by the baling wire.
The guy's name was Rory Parker.
Yeah, I thought the guy was a giant douche, but I didn't think he deserved to split that way.
Well, at least we kind of get a touching moment between him and Kimberly before he dies.
Yeah, he gives his... Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, it lowers his douche factor a little less. I mean, a little more there. I mean, again, he's obviously going back to Friday the 13th, the reboot. He's no... Hold on. Let me look for the information because I cannot do this without remembering his name.
Well, yeah, while you're looking for that information, Rory, he really represents every man as he comes close to his mortality, and that is always making sure a friend can delete your browser history, because you don't want anyone, not even your own mother, to see the things, the depraved, disgusting, horrifying things that we all, as men, occasionally, and by occasionally I mean daily, search for on the internet.
Right. And here we go. He is not as much of a douche as Trent was on the scale of 1 to fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't agree his death was unwarranted, pretty much. And honestly, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about him. You'll find out what I think of him sooner.
Well, I don't care how you slice it. It was a bad way to go.
You still failed.
I know, hey, I told you I'm just going to keep trying, you know?
Yep. And on my least favorite, Nora's decapitation by elevator. I mean, every movie we watch, there's usually a decapitation or something to do with your head. This, yes, I feel bad for Nora, but just foul move. And plus, yeah, it plays on the everybody's fear of someone. There's even an urban legend about it. An elevator closing on a guy's arm and him losing it. It's even happened in real life, but just playing on that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's scary, but
I guarantee you that both those men in the elevator will attest that that is the worst case of head that they've ever received in an elevator.
Nope. What about you?
All right.
Least favorite?
Alex Browning's fate. We find out in a newspaper clipping that a brick fell on his head. It's like something right out of Home Alone 2.
Right, and seriously, death by wind, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say this. I mean, yeah, there can be strong winds, but wow, a wind knocks over a brick and kills our main protagonist from the first movie, and he goes out like a bitch. I mean, wow.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. What a way to emasculate the first film's hero. I mean, now, granted, this was by explosion, but going back to Rory's death, which was extremely cinematic and gory, that shows the way that, air and compression can create a really creative death. So when you hear death by falling brick, it's like, that's not cool.
Right, and seriously, we don't even get to see it. We just see a newspaper clipping. I mean, seriously? Talk about a crappy off-screen kill.
You know what I think? What I would have preferred is if they said something like they couldn't verify the way he died. So if Devon Sawa ever wanted to reprise his role, he could come back. Or it's like, oh, wow, he was so off the radar that when he did die, like, nobody even knew. So it creates, like, an air of mystery. Or you go with the other route of, making a really, like, spectacular death,
Right, and it doesn't even give us a date of when this happened, so we can't really put it on a timeline between Carter's death and... I mean, this happens a year later. That happened a month all the deaths happen a month after the plane crash. So, how are we supposed to put this together?
Yeah.
But
I mean, even Clint got more. It's a bit of a cop out, but still, it was more cinematic. I mean, she died by explosion, trying to check on the other man, and they did Alex wrong. Hopefully, if they ever make another film, maybe they can rectify that.
right, and you all know how I create I had funniest kills for Friday the 13th. For this one, I've got most gruesome death, and here we go. Drum roll. Most gruesome death is Rory gets sliced by barbed wire.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that kid that got completely leveled by a pane of glass.
No. I mean, we don't really even see Tim's body, but Rory...
Yeah, it's like he just turns into a cherry slushy.
Right. But Rory, we watch his arm fall off, we see the blood coming out of his mouth, we see just him get bisected, and just his guts slipping out. I mean, I think that's the one that gave me the most nightmares when I first watched this at age 5.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about working those special effects and that movie magic.
Definitely, yes. As I mentioned prior, it was definitely a very cinematic death. They built up to it very well, and yeah, it was a good payoff.
Right, and honestly, I'm saying this because I watched it I watched this, I don't know, 2 hours before 30 minutes before we started this video.
Yeah.
But just, it was, and to quote something I'm pretty sure that sleazy fucking skateboard kid in the gas station would have said, that is totally gruesome, dude.
It was, yeah.
But on to our scare facts. Great movie, most known for its inventive kills. I mean, the first one, yeah, we had Billy Hitchcock, we had Luton, we had the somewhat inventive kill of Todd, but here, I mean, wow, talk about really using that mousetrap vibe they had from the first one and turning it up to at
11,
least
yeah.
90%.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely upped it. Like I said, this film definitely seemed a lot more gory. Seemed a lot gorier than its predecessor.
Right, and we have connections heavily to the first movie, which I will get to at the end of these facts. The Death has literally had a new design. I mean, it's explained on many variations I've seen online that Death only went backwards so it could cover its tracks, make sure it had no mistakes, by killing the last first, and then making sure no one else would figure out or find out who's next. But
Yeah.
technically he failed.
You know, the way that death is defined or described in this film feels less like a person, but more like a machine, like a computer. Like it's completely unfeeling, and it's just this. It just has these processes, and if it has bad code, it's got to eliminate it. It has to. Yeah, it just sounded very, very cold, very calculating.
Right, and actually, if you notice in the next movie, the design gets way more convoluted and hard to tell. I mean, Death literally changes its design so many times it's hard to tell how someone's supposed to die. Until at least the fifth.
Third one yet. So yeah.
And we have an amazing tagline. You can't cheat death twice. Or,
Yeah,
I believe another one was, death comes around full circle. As I said before, we have another great performance from Tony Todd. We learn Alex Browning's fate. I mean, again, pretty sad. I mean, just the fall of a great hero.
Yeah, he was definitely a hero, and they also introduced a new thing to the mythos, which is that new life can reset Death's design. I don't know if they touch on that in the sequels. We'll find out, but that was a new plot element.
Not from what I've known. I mean, we technically don't hear about this ever again in the third or the fourth movies. The fifth, we definitely wouldn't hear about it because that's a prequel. So, yeah. I think they just threw out that rule for the rest of them.
So the final destination, which is part 4, is really the final destination.
From what we know so far, I mean, I'm pretty sure we're all praying for one day to have Final Destination 6.
I know we joked about this, I think, when we were talking about Scream 4. I don't know about you, but Final Destination in space would actually be pretty freaking awesome. Thinking about on a giant freighter ship, something like the ship used in Alien, and then all the weird just stuff that could go wrong in space. I mean, you're already living in a death trap. That would actually be pretty crazy. I know if you wanted to kill your franchise, you send it to space, but what do you think about that?
I guess it could bring it back, but I think it would basically be a little too much Apollo 13 like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it could work. We have great foreshadowing from the song Highway to Hell by AC/DC in the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
We have the original... Oh, here's some information. Original movie wasn't supposed to have Brian die in the end. Actually, I learned this while researching the novelization of the movie, but turns out, since that one goes by the original script, there was supposed to be a different way that Eugene was supposed to die. It was supposed to be death by birthday candle. The nurse that's supposed to be taking care of Eugene walks out. He's supposed to go take a birthday cake to another patient, a little boy, and he goes by as Clear opens the door. The gas goes off as we see in the movie, and it's actually the birthday cake that ignites the flame, not the cable in the hospital room. And actually, if you noticed, as we see Clear's body, behind it is actually the original body of the nurse from the original script. They never took it out of the movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but you'll find out there are a lot of alternatives that could have been in these movies, especially Brian's. I mean, again, that scene was just final say. It was supposed to end with just us, I guess, blacking out after we see Kimberly and Tom are all right.
Yeah, it was a little weird. the ending was a little, it was a little weird.
I mean, I actually like this ending. It's way better than what they originally thought. I mean, just watching the gruesome death of Brian, just his arm landing on his mother's plate, and the freak explosion of the grill, just bravo, those who came up with that as a final decision. Just, wow.
I got a little bit of movie trivia for you.
Go ahead.
The kid that played Brian played Michelangelo in the two recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle films produced by Michael Bay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think his name's Noah Fisher. Yeah, he did. He not only does the voice, but they did also the motion capture for their characters. So yeah.
You know, I might have actually heard that. I just don't remember hearing about it. And I did hear a lot of other information on other characters from this series that have done important acting roles. I think actually one of them quit after one of those. No, wait. He went on to more. I'm thinking of a different video by Watch Mojo that they did about actors that quit after their movie roles. Yeah. And My Name is Death by Jude is an amazing song to end the movie with. Just, I couldn't stop myself from singing it as I'm watching the ending credits. I mean, it's one of those catchy songs that goes perfectly after you hear the mother scream.
Yeah, it definitely kept things on a tense, kind of creepy note.
Right, and speaking, remember how I said I'm gonna have a lot of references to in this movie?
I conveniently forgot that, but go ahead.
I have the connections between Final Destination 1 and 2, which, yeah, they're mentioned in the movies, but for those who have forgotten, here we go. Eugene actually was, after Miss Lewin dies, he was actually the sub that took over her teachings and her lessons, and he was actually supposed to die during a school shooting, so thank you, Alex, for saving him. The officer Tom raped up Billy Hitchcock's body, where his partner ended up getting killed in a shootout. Kat was on the bus that killed Terry Chaney in the first one, and this saved her from dying in an explosion at a bed and breakfast. Rory was saved by Carter because he was supposed to go into an exploding movie theater that blew up, and because Carter was hit by a sign, he was saved. And Kimberly was saved by the news report of Todd, where her mother, sadly, was not so lucky.
Yeah.
And, again, if you guys didn't notice, there was the H for the I in, as a reference to how, Lewis was supposed to die. I actually noticed something a few minutes ago while watching the movie, that as we're looking at the sign for the man with hooks, I actually noticed the rope that Rory put on the hook that knocked everything down actually looked like, I guess, a braid, if you look closely. And it's
a brain or a braid?
a braid. And it's actually being hooked onto by the man with hooks. So, there's a huge reference.
Yes.
And then, just all those references in the beginning of the movie, the demented little kid crashing the two cars together, the school bus of football players yelling, "Pile up, pile up, pile up," because I guess they're going to defeat a rival school. I'm guessing there wasn't really any backstory to that. I didn't really get the reference with the old woman and the cans. There was the man drinking the beer and the drink responsibly warning on his truck, which, wow, real responsible. As I'm quoting, hold up. As I'm quoting Shauna, and darn, there was one.
Oh, I remember the last one. Okay, this is true, guys. This is a Paranormal Club exclusive. When I was in high school, I had the opportunity. There was the French club, the Spanish club, and the Japanese club. I almost went into the French club, but I decided instead to go into the Spanish club. And you know what? The people in the French club were the ones that eventually went on to Flight 180. And you know what? I haven't seen death whatsoever, so I think I'm safe.
Oh my god. And funny thing was, I actually took French class and I'm still alive.
Do you have a greater desire to surrender? Oh.
No, but funny story. I've accidentally stuck my finger into a 12-volt outlet. It electrocuted me and I'm still alive. I accidentally turned on my house's stove with one of the metal casings on it and saw a white light. I almost drowned at age 1, and amazingly, I've avoided being hit by cars many times on a road which is pretty known for our old drivers.
Yeah, Lee McCoy over at Flicks, also comes on YouTube, mentioned that he had his own Final Destination experience, and it sounds like you had several.
Right. I mean, for some reason, I guess Maurice, the spirit nymph of the water that's been hanging around outside my house, has actually been protecting me.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think we're getting into a little too paranormal and out of the movie. So I'm pretty sure we should get back to that.
Yeah, I think we should start getting into our final thoughts.
Honestly, I love this movie more than the first one. I mean, yeah, it's a little too heavy on the premonitions on like the first one, but I gotta say, again, the gore, way up there. It's gotten better, and we'll see it heighten in the rest of the movies, but this was a start of a very beautiful franchise.
Yeah, so I've never had high estimations for, or never thought highly of the Final Destination films, and I think I put the first one at like a 7.5 or an 8. And yes, the gore does improve the score for this film. Unfortunately, I just don't think the acting was as good as the original film, nor was the story as compelling. This film was a little bit more outlandish. It was more kind of B-rated film, which, for the genre, it works, but when the precedent was set by the original film, I just don't feel like it fully succeeded what was intended in the first film. So if I gave the first film an 8, I would give this one a 7.5.
I'd give it a 7.6.
Oh, trying to outdo me. Oh.
Well, technically, we're not that far out of range. I mean, yeah, again, I did say it was a little too heavy on the premonitions, but again, with 7.6, it's still got that huge factor of the kills and the gore.
Yeah.
But,
yep.
So yeah, we're leaving at 7.6. You guys know we'll be doing this again next week. Boy,
do we have a roller coaster ride of a movie, video for you next week.
And actually, funny thing is, next week's gonna be a huge film for me, since I actually operate a roller coaster at my job. I am a roller coaster attendant and a roller coaster operator at the Bizarro roller coaster in Six Flags Great Adventure.
Hot diggity dog, that sounds amazing.
yeah, sure. If you like being...
Oh, I got a chuckle there. Everyone, take note.
Nope.
On August 1st of 2018, Cameron got Slasher Dude to slightly chuckle.
This does not count. That does not count.
It's just progress. I know you still haven't laughed, but we're getting closer.
Nope. You still failed. But we'll see you guys next week for Final Destination 3. We'll see you guys on Monday for Scream Season 2. The end, so far, of the Scream franchise. Unless Scream Season 3 finally decides to pop out. Or at least we get a confirmed date. And after that, in August, we will be giving you guys the Halloween franchise. Going up until we see Halloween 2018. Which we will try and go see it October 19th when it comes out. So, any final words, Cameron?
Yes. If Dracula bit you while you were wearing a garlic necklace, wouldn't you sue the garlic company? You savvy?
That was terrible.
Is the host there?
That was terrible. But, remember everybody, only new life can prevent death, but you can never cheat death twice. Good night, and we'll see you on Monday.